Hello, hello, hello. MJ, brain cell. MJ, you're first. Congratulations. No one can take that away from you unless we go down, which every time I say no one can take that away from you, I end up having the stream glitch. And then more than one person has first. Um, Hi, welcome, welcome, welcome. So, I'm going to show you right away, but we're not actually going to get to it until, oh, it's still in the bag, until toward the end. I don't know what to make of it. It's a big old hunk of something. Um, she's a big old hunk of something. Marked down from 17 to 10, so I went for it. Um, which is always a risk with the seafood. I've never had monkfish. I don't know what to expect. I don't know how to use it. It supposedly is kind of lobstery. It's a lean white fish, a lean, firm white fish. So that's what we're going to cook today. And it sure is a big old hunk of it. Sure is a big old chunker of it. Yeah, so hooray, we'll find out together. Look at that. Look at that critter. It looks like an organ. It looks like a lung or a spleen. I don't know. We'll find out together what it's like. We're going to use garlic today as well. Because if you'll remember last time we got these, they've continued trying to sprout, little sprouties. So we're going to use a whole bunch of garlic today. We should just get those out. But the fish in my two fish dishes is the least important part. So we're doing other things first, and the fish is going to get added, or going to get brought out later. And I have an image in my mind of what this is going to look like. I don't know if we're going to make it. Don't know if we're going to accomplish it, but I sure hope so. But yeah, hi, welcome. Monkfish Two-Ways. I'll be making a grilled piece. By grilled, I mean stovetop, and a soup. Figured that was a nice pairing. And then I think I want a vegetable on the side, so I got some broccoli to throw in as a vegetable on the side. I feel extra tall today. I got new shoes, and the soles are like a little bit thicker, so I feel tall. Yeah. So that's the plan. So we are going to start with the board. And some of these garlics. Take the tail off. Oop, that one's still got some paper. So how is everyone today? What's new? What's going on? What's for dinner? Or breakfast, or lunch, or midnight snack. Or past tense of any of those. What did you have for a midnight snack last night? That's a new question. Okay. We're smashing and then just chopping up the garlic. Don't need mega fine today. Let's use these guys. Want to get the garlic going ahead of when it is actually needed. And a shallot. Shallots were kind of funny today. And not funny ha-ha, funny weird. There were a lot of these half ones that were, they looked like they had been pre-split. But now cutting into this one, it looks like it was cleaving again. So it must be something to do with the farming. It's January, so every vegetable around here is being imported and or grown in greenhouses. Sometimes being grown in greenhouses and then imported. Because the ground is frozen. We can go with a little bit of a course on the shallot. I am using an actual recipe as a guide, and this time it's not an online one. It's the one on the side of the jar of fish stock. But I'm not following it exactly. And I'm also putting potatoes in it, which it super does not call for. Oh, by the way, we're having potatoes. Heads up. Caution. Potatoes. Nope, nope, that one. Those pieces all wanted to fall apart. Okay. Need a... So yeah, there will be more than a little bit of just ingredient prep right at the start here. I guess the potatoes are on the smallish side, so I will grab... Some of them are looking a little bit old too. So we have come out of the heavy workload era at my job, which is nice. Any longer, and I think I would have gotten kind of tired of it. But it only lasts like a month and a half, which is just fine. Okay, that's going to be enough potato for what I want. I'm trying to make sort of one soup. And there'll be no need to rinse starches since we're boiling them anyways. And really no need to pre-boil either since we're boiling them anyways. So we're just going to dice them up. into spoonable chunks. Another bowl. Oop, that was a piece of skin. A carrot. Carrots are a little skinny. What I want is like a short, fat one, but I don't have a short, fat one, so we're going to go with this one. Top and tail, and I am going to give it a once over with the old peeler. Which oftentimes I just skip because commercially produced carrots are typically quite clean. Watching in the kitchen while making orecchiette with broccoli and Italian sausage. That sounds good. Hello, bookwoman. How are you? You've already told me what you're having. I don't have to ask that. Happy Monday. Is there anything else I want? I guess I'm deliberately kind of going for simple here because I want to taste the monkfish. Because part of this is learning what's up with monkfish. I'm going to want the butter. We're going to need the butter. We're going to need some whole peppercorn. That's a thing that I need. Got enough of those. I actually also picked up some white pepper. I usually don't buy that, but I found a good deal on some. Yeah, and then I don't think... Fennel, thyme, basil, black pepper, tomato paste. Diced tomatoes. No, we're not making that. We're not making a tomato-based soup. That sounds too much. I'm going to make a creamy potato soup with the monkfish. That's the plan. And a grilled piece on the side. Let's get out of the pot. Start frying stuff. Slide to the left. How much butter? I guess I don't want too much butter. We don't want to go overboard with butter. So, a small butter. But we're going to need more butter later. A small butter, heat on, get that melting. We will start frying off the shallot first. develop some of those flavors. I like the idea. So the recipe is the one provided for bouillabaisse on the jar of fish stock concentrate. And I'm ignoring parts of it. I like the idea of fennel and just a pinch of thyme. Basil sounds nice. And I have homegrown basil. I also want to put in a little bit of lemon that it does not call for. But it's a tomato-based one, so it doesn't need the acidity. So I want to throw in some of my dried lemon, which I have transferred into a different container because that big plastic one was awkward. And they look much nicer in... they look much nicer in here. Not this side, because those two ended up funny, but this side looks pretty good. So yeah. Happy. Well, I hope you've had a happy Monday so far. As they say, trying times. We definitely have trying times. So our butter is, oh, that's right. I need to get out some white wine. I don't know. I'm feeling, we're a little bit on the low energy side today. So I'm not going to be jumping around quite so much, I think. Not quite so much, I think. Our butter is just about entirely melted and bubbling. And it gives us a little bit of a sizzle. So, in go our shallots. Ooh, I'm not going to add a pinch of salt because I think we're gonna have issues with this potentially being too salty. So I'm not going to add any extra salt at any point early, so that I don't, because you can't take it out. You can always put more in, but you can't take it out. I think that's going to be the biggest issue I might run into down the line is over salting. Because I'm using a fish stock concentrate, which naturally has salt in it. Unnaturally, which, as a matter of course, has salt in it. And occurred to me that saying, well, naturally, that has a different meaning in food. So we are going to gently saute one large shallot. That was the other one. While that gets sizzling, let's assemble our dry spices. Thyme. I think thyme is a very, very overpowering flavor, so I only want a tiny bit like that. I like the idea of the basil, especially since I have homegrown basil. So we will add a good amount of that. Saizan, hello, hello. Been a minute, hasn't it? Welcome, welcome. What are you having for dinner? As I always ask everyone. And that made it sound like I don't always ask everyone, but I do. How's your Monday been? Tell me all the things. Inquiring minds enjoy to know. I can't really say want to know, just it's nice. Okay, the shallot has softened, and I am going to take this thing's lead on some fennel, but I'm going to just throw it in whole. Let it go nuts. A moisten at this time of day, I suppose. Moist. 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 Thank you for the moisten. So the fennel in with the butter and the shallot, which is honestly getting to the point where I probably need to go with it. We're going to fry it off and then leave the pieces in there whole. I think that they will express their flavor oils and leave little, I mean, they're not going to break down as I cook them because they're little seeds. And I can already smell them, so that's working. Stir fry with a bunch of leftover rice. A fried rice is a classic. I've said it before, there's no such thing as too much rice, there's just leftover rice. Okay, our coarsely chopped garlic goes in until it is fragrant, but because it is coarsely chopped, we don't have to super duper worry about it burning all of a sudden. Do I want to put the pepper in? No. We'll pepper this one at the end. But we don't want to. We still want to burn the garlic. It's just not going to do it in a split second, the way it tends to when you have it just absolutely minced to oblivion. This pan is actually a non-stick, so we aren't going to have to deglaze, but I want the wine to be in there as if we did deglaze it, so we are quote-unquote deglazing it. With the wine. And then we are going to boil off that wine. My go-to white wine for cooking is a cheap Chardonnay. Or occasionally a cheap Pinot Grigio, but this one is a cheap Chardonnay. That's a good one too. Breakfast congee with an egg. So we're gonna cook that back down until it is not liquidy, and then we're gonna start adding other things to this. But that's gonna take a minute, so we can slide over and measure a few other things out. I don't know how much water we're actually gonna need. Let's run the tap hot so that it doesn't go in ice cold. That'll help it come back to a boil a little bit faster. So pulling out 2 cups of water, and then this stuff, which is a fish stock concentrate paste that I don't really use terribly often these days. I think I have leaned in the direction of either making my own stocks or using powdered stock, because the powdered stuff I find easier to work with. So I've kind of drifted. Initially, I got these pastes because they're better than the powdered ones. And they are better than the powdered ones, but they're not so radically better. And they're slightly less convenient to use. Anyways, I'm putting a teaspoon of that in our pot. Once I've boiled off the remaining wine, or I could put it in at the end. Honestly, I probably could put it in after the potatoes. Yeah, we're going to change that up. Slide on over, throw our dry herbs in. Infuse our liquid a little bit as it reduces. Check in 1, 2 of our dried lemon slices. I think I'm going to chuck in the carrot now as well. Get it started. That's another thing. I dried all these lemons with the intent of doing exactly this kind of thing with them. And man, do I always forget about them. Hopefully in this new jar where I can put it closer at hand, I'll remember it more. Okay, water in, potato in. Stir it around. The lemons, of course, float, but they should rehydrate and infuse this with lemony goodness as they do so. Then we can fish them out at the end. And while that comes back up to a simmer or boil or whatever it decides to do, I'm not its boss. It is its own. We're gonna get some water ready in case I think it boils off too much. We're gonna come back over here. We're gonna move the wooden board, and we are going to dig out the critter itself. Where's my nylon? We'll move you first. Move you first. Get out our nylon board, and we're going to see what this critter is made of. The critter. The critter himself. Ooh, wee. He's a critter. He's a biggin. I have never in my life this fish. What do you even? I mean, this is only this is only the part that you eat too. This is huge. It's such a strange color too. On on the other side, on this side. Why is it purple? There's a little bit of a membrane on it. I think I'm going to cut that away. I have seen what this fish looks like when you get the whole thing, and I do not have a facility large enough to handle that fish. They're freaking enormous, and they look like absolute uh, nightmare monsters. I guess I'm gonna chop up the end bit. I don't know what those are. I'm cleaning up anything that looks sus. It is a wild caught fish, so there is always the risk of hitchhikers. And it is a carnivore fish, so that means the risk of little parasites. So anything that looks sus, I'm getting out of it. I don't think it's got parasites, but you never know. You can't really usually see them, so you always cook it well done. I would not make sushi out of this thing for that exact reason. Such lovely talk about reasons not to eat the thing that I'm actively planning to eat. I don't know what those are. They're probably little fat deposits, honestly, but it's a strange critter. It's a strange critter. Not gonna lie. It's very firm. It's very solid. Any of you ever had monkfish? Before? Know anything about it? Oh yeah, I didn't mention monkfish is what this critter is. kept calling it the critter. I mentioned monkfish at the beginning, and monkfish is in the title, and it's also written next to me on the board here, monkfish. Um, but I, but I didn't actually say it just now, so I cannot recall having had it. I've heard of it. I've seen it prepped in like fancy things. The descriptions are you can treat it like lobster. God, it looks so strange too. It's supposed to be. It's described as like poor man's lobster because it's cheaper than lobster, but has a similar texture and flavor. But I've also seen it should be treated like a firm white fish along the lines of a cod, which is what's going in the soup. And I've also seen that you can just grill the thing. So I'm doing those two methods. And I'm probably not going to use the whole thing either. We're probably going to freeze the end. Because this part's going in the soup. And then I'm going to make myself like a little roast out of it. But I don't want that whole piece. I think I just want to cut it like there and do a little roast there. And then I'll freeze the end and can chop that up in something else some other time. That needs a dish. But yeah, I don't know. I wanted to do it two ways because I don't know what it's like, and I wanted both of those ways to be things that are kind of low flavor on their own, so that whatever flavor the fish brings to the I almost walked over and washed my hands, and then came back and touched the fish again. Whatever the fish itself brings to the party. Oh, you know what I want to do? You know what I want to do is like medallions. So whatever the fish itself brings to the table, I will taste more. So I think these three little medallions, and then a little bowl of soup, and then I will save the remainder there. I will vacuum pack that after. I don't have a place to put I don't have a place to put the vacuum sealer right now. I will vacuum seal that after we're done. Which means for now I just need to set it aside somewhere where it will be protected. It doesn't smell like anything either, which, I mean, fresh fish doesn't smell like anything. Doesn't smell fishy, but usually it has some, like, aroma. This stuff is like nothing. Unless I've got COVID. But I can smell the soup, so I don't think I have COVID. We're just gonna take a. Oh, you know what we could do. You know what we could do. The weird thing, the weird fancy thing, and just a temporary dish. Slunk that in there. Stretch the thingy over the top, and then that can go in the fridge and be protected until later this evening when I vacuum freeze it. Okay. Back to the stove. Let's poke around our soup, see how it's coming along. We are at a boil. The lemon pieces have ridden up. We need more liquid for what I want to do with this. So more. So we're at 3 cups of water, and it should be a teaspoon of the fish base per cup to just make broth. But I think we're going to add a little bit less than that and have it sort of be a gentle. I'm going for a milder soup, and we're going to fish those lemon pieces out once they've hydrated. Because I think I just want a little bit of lemoniness in there, but not a full-on like sour soup. Yeah, and then that's going to simmer in the back. Golly, I think we set that piece of fish aside. Set this knives. We can come back. Sour parasite soup. Hi, Flamingo. Don't worry, we're cooking everything well done. Flamingo, have you had monkfish? Do you know anything about it at all? Everyone, if you've never seen what these things look like, yowza. They are like nightmare creatures. I don't think we want all 4 of these cloves. I think I only want 2 cloves. Flamingo, Studley, hello, and welcome. We are monking a fish, fishing a monk. If you don't care for seafood or eat it a lot, you definitely should look up what a monkfish looks like. They're quite the thing. They definitely benefited from a rename for market purposes. Yeah, poor man's lobster, except they're not all that much cheaper anymore. This one I got out of the discount bin, but it was that whole piece was. I mean, I suppose an equally sized lobster is way more expensive, but the piece that I'm working with was $17, almost $18. Going with a mince on the garlic instead of a crush. Anyway, I don't think I've ever had. If I have, I don't recall monkfish. So I want to cook it in 2 ways to try 2 things out, and also ways that won't drown it in other stronger flavors. I say as I put 5 cloves of garlic across 2 dishes. No, it was in the bargain bin. It was I got this one. This one was $10 out of the bargain bin for a. What are we at? A pound and a half. It's $12 a pound normally, so it's about it's at the level of like beef, because beef has gotten so freaking expensive. So we are working with bargain bin with a bargain bin one today. I saw it in the bargain bin once before. I posted it in Discord at that time, and That time I had something else planned, and I knew I wasn't going to have a ton of time to do like extra stuff, so I ended up not doing the monkfish then. But it is one that I've been curious about, so I keep my eyes open. Rhea! Hello. Hi, Rhea. 20 months. 20 months. Thank you so much. And welcome back. And hello. Let's taste my broth. Definitely has enough lemon in it. I'm going to fish the hook those guys out. We're gonna rinse the garlic off of them. We're going to eliminate them from the infusion. Oh, well, thank you so much for the resub. Resubscribed for 18 months at tier 1. They've been subscribed for 20 months. I'm sorry, Twitch. That doesn't math. Your math doesn't math. Our potatoes are still a little bit too firm. I want them to be nice and soft. Although we also have to boil the fish. I think now's a good time to throw in some of the stock concentrate, though. We can always add more water if I end up cooking this down too far. I believe you can get them whole at a fish market, but then there are arguments about how to sell them at a fish market because a huge portion of the fish is the head, and there's no meat on the head other than like the right on the cheek muscles. So if you just sell the thing by weight with the head attached, it's like you're paying for a whole bunch of stuff that you're not using. But I don't think you'll see them at a supermarket with the head on. You will see them at a fish market where the people showing up are largely looking for fancy fish, good fish, fresh fish, just caught fish. Because the bit we're eating right now, or the bit we're going to be eating, is the just the skinny tail part. The big flat round head is not food. It's the not food part. Let's throw them in though. Speaking of them. They firm up quite quickly. We're going to switch that to the back burner though. Turn this front one off. Pull out a pan. Okay, so the plan here is to fry them in the pan pretty much naked. And then construct a pan sauce in the pan afterwards. But also, they don't sell them whole because they're freaking enormous. They're like 4 or 5 feet long. We need some. Make sure that pan's not going to get too hot too fast. We want that to come up to a simmer again. And we want butter. Now we need a lot more butter. You guys don't need to see me cut butter unless you want to see me cut butter. I'm going to start us off with 2 tablespoons. I think we're going to add more butter. As this goes. We're going to start there like that. This pan isn't, the burner in here isn't even on. This is just residual warming the pan. I'm going to let that melt the butter. So, those who have arrived since I last asked the question, the eternal question, what's for dinner? Hoping we can get away with not a ton of dishes today. Oh, hey, I got a new toy. I got two actually. One of them is less impressive. So I'll show you that one first. It's a citrus squeezer. A little tiny one for limes. But it is the thing I've always been looking for. It's all stainless steel instead of aluminum, which means I'm not going to accidentally bend this one or break a handle or something. And it has a little bottle opener affixed right into the bottom there. I don't have any limes right now to squeeze, but fun. The more interesting one, which will probably get its own time at some time, I found a tortilla press in good condition. So at some time, we'll have to do that. Chicken crust pizza. Either I'm losing my mind or there should be a word between chicken and crust. Or are you saying that you're making a pizza in which the crust is made of chicken, which is also a thing and makes me excited. Excited nonsense. Exactly it. Oh my God. Wow. Chicken. So, pounded out flat piece of chicken with, I don't know, what's linguica. Hold on. Oh my God, I have to do research. Oh, it's, okay. Oh, so it's a mince. Okay. A mince rolled out. Oh, that's not what I was thinking. I was thinking like a cutlet. Like take a breast and pound it out real thin into a big cutlet. But you're doing a mince with egg as a binder. I hate to tell you, cheese is not a good binder. Cheese is a good flavoring. Interesting. Oh. I would be very pleased if if a photo of that was shared in Discord. I've never considered such a thing. We're putting a lid on MJ. I don't have a Discord command, but there's a Discord at the very top in my pinned comment. I didn't forget today. It would be a good thing to turn into a command. Imagine having a bot. I know, right? I could do all sorts of interesting, fun things. If only someone would invent a bot that would do that. If only I actually personally knew someone who had gone through the effort, the time and effort to do exactly that. So, our butter is bubbling. So I am putting my fish medallions into it. And they are going to sit still for a while. We're going to wash our hands because we just touched the fish. Move all the less urgent than when we do it with chicken, but still good practice since I'm also not going to be touching anything else. I don't need to hold on to the fish really. So we're going to let those sit before we even think about trying to turn them. You know what? I know I should do a bot, but sometimes I am really very bad at things. Hi. Let me look at this. Let me look at this. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my. Do I have a. Hold on. Do I have a screen capture? Is that a screen capture? No, that's. Wait, is it? It is. Look at that thing. Look at that thing. That looks amazing. Thank you for sharing a photo of that. That is delicious. I'm going to have to try that sometime. That thing looks amazing. I never considered doing it with a mince. Is it hard to roll it out or like shape it into the shape? Okay, we are flipping our fish pieces. Ooh, that one has a weird shape to it. I don't think this fish is a flaky fish. Use a spoon to spread it out on parchment. Interesting. I never considered such a thing. Why did this one do this? There's a little connective bit right there, right there. We're pushing it down so that the proteins will bind a little bit in shape. Hopefully that will undo some of that weird bind that it did. Low carb. Oh, that makes sense. I would guess, Flamingo, that it has to be baked and then topped, because otherwise you'd be putting a bunch of... There'd be no way to check if the chicken was fully cooked if you topped it first. And also the reason of that, it would have to cook for so long compared to how long you want the toppings to cook. That's such an interesting thing, though. I love that. I love that. Canned chicken. I would probably do it with a, because you can get like chicken mince the way you can get beef mince. Like you can get chicken mince. I probably would try it with that. If I was to do it. Interesting. Well, thank you for sharing. It looks really good. Are you guys... They're not really sticking, but they're kind of sticking a little bit, which is fine. This one is trying to tear itself in half, right along that seam. I want a little bit of browning on all of them, not just little bits of brown butter brown, but a little bit of actual browning on them, which we have some forming that isn't just little stuck on bits. Again, these are quite firm. They really do have the texture of like a lobster tail, at least in the cooking. This pan just kind of smells like brown butter. That one looks funny. That one looks kind of funny. It also might not brown very well just because it's fish. Oh no, that one looks better. Where's my pot holder? It's way over there where it's useless. Way over here where it's useless. We're gonna rotate them a little bit. Honestly, they're looking... I don't want to overshoot. Again, I don't 100% know what I'm doing here. I don't want to overcook them. let's where's my little probe? Let's probe them real quick. See what the thing thinks. I mean, I'd pull them. And since I'm in charge here, I'm pulling them. That one went weird on me. So that one's probably going to get the worst positioning on the finished plate. And we will just put a overturned metal bowl over the top of that plate to keep the steam in on them. We will add a fresh shot of butter. Whole peppercorns. Stop setting your potholder down in dumb places. We're going to want something scrapier than a silicone spatula, because we're going to want to pick up all these little bits that are in here. Okay, we're going to cook the pepper, heat down just a smidge. Let's take a peek at our soup. I'm going to take the heat off of the soup and the soup off of the heat. I think it's probably done. We're going to let our peppercorns get started. We're going to throw our garlic in there. Push it around, get it to know all that melty butter. And, oh, I put it away. And the wine is back. No, we are not doing a Paula Deen amount of butter. We are not doing a Julia Child amount of butter. You want a lot of butter? You want a lot of butter? You cook with Julia Child. Now that woman knew how to put butter in food. But the wine picks up the brown bits from our browned butter. We currently have brown butter, garlic, pepper, and wine. We are not setting your potholder down in weird places. We are getting the wine out of it. I don't have a recipe for what I'm doing here. I am actually just making this up. It might end up a mess. I've definitely ruined and split sauces before. We shouldn't need the scraper at this stage. Take our heat up a little bit. Everything is becoming dark brown. Heat off. And then we add a bunch of straight up dang old heavy cream. And we slide it off the heat and realize that this was supposed to have been a whisked element. Yeah. I think that's the sauce that it's supposed to be. It probably could use a smidge of heat. But I think we're just going to let it ride on the residuals on this burner instead of adding actual heat. I think that'll run the risk of splitting it. I just kind of want it to thicken ever so slightly. I might even give us a tiny dash of tapioca just to pull it together. Okay, but at the moment we're going to let that rest on the heat, see what it do. We did a white wine. White wine is already in there. You must have skipped that step. This bottle right here, we added a splash, cooked it off, and then added the cream. We used half a stick of butter across our dishes. That's pretty good. I want some green in that sauce. And that's going to be our old friend, kinda wilted parsley. The parsley's getting a little bit wilty. So we're not cooking in the stems. You can eat parsley stem, but you have to cook it out a little bit more than the leaves. It's a tiny bit on the fibrous side. So great. It would have been a great thing to actually add to the soup toward the beginning. But I will be discarding the stems this time. Oh, we need a fresh knife. All my knives have other things on them. Okay. Fresh parsley into our sauce. Stir it around. It is definitely thickening. It's also kind of trying to develop a skin. But that's a good sign. That's part of the thickening process. We just don't let it by stirring it back into itself. Yeah, that's exactly the sauce that I was picturing. A peppercorn garlic cream sauce. 100% what I had in mind. The soup and the plate. I pre-selected a plate today. We're using the moon. Oh, I wish I had a chive. I don't have any midwinter chive. I do have a little bit of scallion. Brush off our thing. I'm going to go grab, or no, I'll use the one that's in here. That'll be fine. We only need the one. I tend to like to garnish. When I've got two things to garnish, I want to garnish them with different things. Oop, you guys are over there looking at the sauce. Join me at the knife. So since there's green parsley is our green flecks in the sauce, we're going to have green onion be our green flecks in the soup. Take off that bit, take off that bit. Perfect. Okay. You get moved over yonder. This gets put here with a soup bowl. Oh, that's right next to me. Our fish pieces. Are going to be arranged across the front. We're going to take the drippings here that they have given up and stir them into the sauce. Should not let deliciousness go to waste. But I think we need to whisk that. So okay. Okay. How hot are you? A little bit too hot for the firm grip. The bowl's going to move. like that. Oop. Aw. I was in the wrong spot. I did a little pour across for them. I'm going to actually take this over there and do this over on this side. Oop. You got... God. The soup. Looks like we're having a little bit of a short one today. Oh, those potatoes still seem kind of hard. Hold on. Did I take these off too soon? No, they're fine. They're not quite as soft as I envisioned, but they're fine. I did just taste a potato without you. Because it turns out I know what potatoes taste like. Shocking revelations. Chef knows what potato tastes like. And we'll throw a little bit of fresh crack on that as well. And that is my plate. It feels like it's missing something, but I guess that's just what we got today. Monkfish medallions with a peppercorn garlic cream sauce and monkfish potato soup. Clean up my pepper a little bit. Okay, let me go take a picture. We'll come back. We'll taste, because I am very, very curious as to what the monkfish tastes like. Because I am, as previously mentioned, new to this one. Okay. Coming back, coming back, coming back. Asparagus would go well there. If I pushed this over and did like asparagus on the side there, that'd be good. It looks very tan. It needs like a big green thing. Callie Kong, hello, hi, welcome. How are you? I'm fine. You're here just in time for the fun part, especially today, which is tasting the results. We're finding out what this is all about. And especially today, because I don't know what monkfish tastes like, and that's all this. So, yes, we have monkfish medallions with a peppercorn garlic cream sauce down here, and a monkfish potato soup up here. I wanted to do it two different ways. Both ways that would be not completely high. I didn't want to put a bunch of tomatoes in it. So a couple of the recipes I looked at were like, tomatoes. Throw tomatoes in there. I'm like, okay, well, I think that'll hide the monkfish flavor too much. So actually, take that off there and have this plate be way oversized. My first bite's going to be this little one over here. with nothing on it because I want to know what this fish tastes like all by itself. Oh man. I'm not sure how much of the butteriness is coming from the fish and how much is coming from the butter. I'm going to assume that it is in part coming from the butter. It's firm but delicate. It's actually more delicate than lobster tail, but it has a similar sort of fiber to it. It's tender. Um, it's really it's very mild. Mm. Yep, that was a little connective bit. A little connective bit. That's why that one turned a weird shape. It's very mild. It's it held together really well, but it has a it's interesting. It's interesting. It held together really well, like a firm fish would, like a swordfish. But on the bite, it actually is much more tender. It reminds me more of the texture of like a tilapia. But tilapia just falls apart when you cook it like this. Whereas this, the pieces all held together really well. And that's such an interesting thing. It breaks apart. I honestly don't need the knife. It breaks apart really quite easily, despite having held up to being pan fried and flipped with a spatula. Mm. The sauce actually cooled off a little bit too much. It's creamy, it's mild, it's got little bursts of peppercorn in it. It's got a nice sort of the garlic is infused really nicely without being really massively powerful. Um, it's very creamy. It's very like fat forward sauce, which I think is good for something like this because this fish is very lean. There's not really much in the way of its own fat. So then you want to serve it with something that will add the fattiness. It's the reason deep fried cod works so well. Um, Cod is quite lean. The deep frying adds a lot of the fattiness. They balance out really well. If you used an already fatty fish, you'd end up with just greasy fried fish. Let's try the soup. Now the soup went the opposite route and just simmered it in some flavor, honestly. And I chopped it down into these, hopefully, cooked through nice little bite-sized chunks. Actually, I'm going to just have one of those. Mmm. Oh, the texture is completely different. It's, again, they held together really well, but they are so soft. I'm almost glad I didn't quite cook the potatoes as much as I wanted because the fish is very much just like melts in your mouth soft. I gotta go back. I gotta go back. I gotta try one just for the flavor. It's very mild. It reminds me of so I can tell the butteriness came from the butter. because this one has no butteriness to it. It really does have a little bit of like a lobstery back note to it. It's definitely not as... I can understand the poor man's lobster description of it. It's not as rich uh, as lobster, but it has similar texture and it has a similar flavor. And by the looks of the way I cooked it, it holds up in a variety of ways. I'm surprised how tender the pieces are compared to how well they held together in cooking. Normally something that's gotten this soft will start to fall apart. Fascinating. I really like it. It's a little bit on the pricey side for regular, but it's so much cheaper than some of the other things that I think it competes with. It doesn't... If you wanted, you could cut this down and do like deep fried with batter, the way you would with a cod or a haddock or something. But I think you wouldn't like it as much in that form. The flavors would work, but the fish is so soft when it's cooked. It's so much more tender when it's cooked than those type of fish that I think you'd just be like mush right through it when you tried to bite it. I think it wants sort of these more delicate service, which works out. But I would also do this kind of service with a very firm fish. I've done this almost exact same thing with swordfish, which is the complete opposite. That thing is like a steak. Fascinating. Fascinating. If you don't like fish, you might like this. It tastes nothing like fish. Fascinating. I don't know what more I have to say about it. Both of these dishes are fairly simple, just meant to highlight the main ingredient. Which I think they do swimmingly. There's a lot of garlic in there. You already know what it looks like. They do definitely look like horrifying nightmare monsters. That's not going to change. They're always going to look like horrifying nightmare monsters. But is it better to eat something that's cute or something that is a horrifying nightmare? Up for debate. I will definitely keep my eye out for these again. I'll definitely keep my eye out for these again. It doesn't have... So, I wouldn't put it in something that I was trying to infuse flavor into, because it's not bringing a lot of flavor. When you taste it by itself, it has a little bit of that lobstery sort of... And honestly, that's the kind of like bottom feedery flavor, because that's what lobsters are. They're marine bottom feeders. It has a little bit of that. But like lobster, you can do like a lobster mac and cheese. You can use lobster to infuse lobster flavor into something else. This stuff is so delicate that you couldn't do that with it. This stuff would be really good for like a budget surf and turf in place of the lobster. And you could also do a surf and surf. I've done that before. But I'd replace the lobster with this, and then the steak is a swordfish. Yeah, I have no idea what the mercury content of this fish is. That's always a consideration when you're eating large marine fish. The bigger they are, the more mercury they typically have in them. But yeah, I like it. It is not what I was expecting. I think I hit two good. I mean, I played it extremely safe with selecting my dishes today. A potato soup and a peppercorn pan sauce are very very safe bets. So I hedged my bets and we landed good ones for it. But now that I know what I'm working with, and the shape of it, it's that. What about a Wellington? What about a Monkfish Wellington? Because it's got that shape and it's really tender. That might be a thing. That might be a thing. That might be a thing. I've never made a Wellington with you guys because man, are they intimidating. Um, man, are those things intimidating. And also, a beef tenderloin is very expensive, and we don't have the budget for very expensive at the moment. Um, ooh, that might be on the menu. How big is that? We could make a little baby one with the rest of that thing. Mm. A Wellington. A Wellington is just a fancy hot pocket. So, fish hot pockets. Call it that. Anyways, I think, oops, that's not the right button. That one. I think I'm going to go take this and finish it off in the other room. It's nice. It wants a light white wine pairing it. Which mushroom would I use? To be determined. Um, to be determined. I could practice making crepes for the crepe slayer. We're gonna raid out. We're gonna raid out before my food gets cold. Let's see. Chef is on, of course. Whomst else do we see? LaFay. Tom. Interesting. I want to see what room and board is cooking. So we're going to go there. Earth Toast. Earth Toast is on? Hold on. Stop. Cancel. I missed Earth Toast. Earth Toast is on. Earth Toast is on. Sure. Why can't I raid you? Raid. 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 Okay, yeah. um, we raid room and board a whole lot these days. Let's change it up. I'm not sure what they're making. Veggie soup and cheesy garlic bread. Exclamation mark lurk. This was fun. I learned something about monkfish. Yeah, I almost was like, because I heard the comparison to lobster before. I almost was like, let's go full bore and make monkfish mac and cheese. I'm glad I didn't. That would have been a waste of the monkfish. It would have disappeared into that. Radio's got raid messages. Flamingo's also coming up with the same raid messages. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for being you. And thanks to Radio for the resub. yeah, I'm not sure what else to talk about. The work schedule has loosened up. I might be able to throw in some extra streams starting this week. Next week's a little bit tight again. Yeah. So we'll see. Stay tuned. Bye.